Welcome to podcast number 17 of our AI-generated news summary. Let's dive into the summaries of our top stories. Our next story is titled, Donald Trump's Gen Z son, Barron, is serving as his unofficial podcast advisor. Barron Trump, 18, introduced his father to podcasting. It's part of Trump's effort to reach younger voters who are starting families. Trump will also conduct an interview with popular podcaster Joe Rogan on Friday. Our next story is titled, Half of Americans See Donald Trump as a Fascist. Poll: 87% of Democrats call Trump a fascist, compared with 46% of independents and 12% of Republicans. Fewer than half as many, 22%, see Harris as a fascist. Our next story is titled, Why Harris's Closing Argument is Focused More on Trump Than Her Vice President. Kamala Harris will make her closing arguments to voters next week. A digital ad the Harris campaign released Thursday shows menacing black and white images of Trump as a voiceover from Harris cites his admiration for dictators. Our next story is titled, In The Price of Power, McConnell says Trump's MAGA movement is completely wrong. Mitch McConnell calls Donald Trump a narcissist and stupid in a new book. The Price of Power details McConnell's increasing dissatisfaction with Trump leading up to the 2020 election. Our next story is titled, How Trump Has Undermined Public Trust in Election System Leading Up to 2024 Race. Many of Trump's supporters say they don't trust the U.S. election system. Trump has said he will accept the results of the 2024 election if it's fair and legal. Trump has pushed mixed messaging on mail-in voting. Our next story is titled, Putin once asked Elon Musk to not activate Starlink over Taiwan as a favor to Xi Jinping. Report: The Wall Street Journal reported that Russian President Vladimir Putin asked Elon Musk to stop using Starlink over Taiwan. Musk's SpaceX has $3.6 billion in contracts with the Defense Department. Musk and the Kremlin said Bremer's report was untrue. Our next story is titled, Trump's lawyers again asked to dismiss federal election interference case. Lawyers for former President Donald Trump ask a judge to throw out his election interference case. They argue that special counsel Jack Smith was illegally appointed. A federal appeals court in Washington, D.C. has already rejected the same claim. Our next story is titled, Obama and Stars Help Democrats Shore Up Georgia Votes. More than 20,000 people attended the rally in DeKalb County, Georgia. Crowd was largely African American, with a minority of white voters. Obama said some black men were not supporting Harris because she was a woman. Our next story is titled, The Liz Cheney Theory of a Harris Victory. Liz Cheney, the pro-life, ultra-conservative daughter of Dick, was joined on stage. Cheney and her fellow anti-Trump surrogates have run with that message in recent weeks. Their effort, the thinking goes, gives Republicans permission to hold their. Our next story is titled, Ignore the Vibes, Parties Gear Up for 50-50 Race to the Wire. The race for the White House is now down to a razor-thin margin. Democrats' penchant for hand-wringing is something that's been true for decades, a source said. Republicans, for their part, are also not taking anything for granted. That concludes our AI-generated news summary for today. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for our next episode.